Are you tired of asking your kids to do something over and over again, only to get the same results? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about how to teach our kids to listen and follow instructions. Coming up. Hi, my name is Gabriel Perez, and this is the Dad Schooler YouTube channel. And the purpose of this channel is to help encourage dads to take ownership and leadership in their home and homeschool. So if you find value in that kind of content, I would like to ask that you consider subscribing to this channel. A little bit about myself. I am a husband and father of 3 kids. My wife and I both work full-time jobs, and we both partner together in homeschooling our children. In addition to that, I am a certified coach for the National Center of Biblical Parenting. Question for the video. Let me know in the comments below, what is your greatest obstacle in getting your children to listen and follow instruction? Let me know, and I would love to try and help you out in the comments. Or if you don't feel comfortable, you can send me an email at thedadschooler@gmail.com. The struggle to get our kids to listen and follow instructions is real, and it's probably the most common thing as parents that we deal with. And so here we are trying to build cooperation with our children. And cooperation is a working relationship. It's the beginning of what we teach as the instruction routine. And so before I get into that, let's talk a little bit about cooperation and what it is. Cooperation is a willingness to work together to accomplish a task. Cooperation is responding to a parental instruction with a good attitude. Cooperation is giving up your agenda for the needs of others. And so the goal here is to really increase cooperation between both your child and you. We want that working relationship that there's cooperation so we can all work together. The instruction routine contains 5 steps for the parent and 5 steps for the child. And so why is the instruction routine important? Understanding the reasons why will motivate you to move forward even when you feel like it's not working or you feel unmotivated. It's going to be a hard thing to implement, but the steps are easy, but it's hard to do consistently. Because sometimes you're not going to feel like it. Sometimes it's going to be, maybe you don't feel like it's the right time or you got so much going on. But knowing why we're doing the instruction routine is going to help you when you're unmotivated or not feeling like it. And the core reason for this is that we are building character in our children through everyday tasks of life. And it's important to note that the instruction routine is not about getting things done. It's not about, I need the trash taken out, I need this whole house cleaned up. I mean, those things are important. We have to get things done as parents. That's part of our job, is making sure things get done. But that's not the sole purpose of the instruction routine. The instruction routine is to build character in the child. And why is that important? Well, that's a character skill that they're going to need as they go into the world, as they go out into life, or they go to school. They're going to have to know how to follow an instruction. They're going to have to know how to have cooperation. And so this is a skill that we need to build up now. The sooner the better, and we need to build up within our children so that they can be functioning adults in the world. And I think it's important to note that every time you give an instruction, you have the opportunity to build character in your child, which is the core reason of what we're doing here. That when you're building this discipline into yourself and into your children, it's not going to be pleasant, but there is a harvest at the end. And one that's going to produce peace, one that's going to build on a relationship where you're not yelling at your kids to get things done. You're not losing your patience, wanting to tear out your hair or whatnot. You're having a strong relationship built on cooperation and trust and ultimately love. There's a foundation there that you can build upon and that they can build on growing up. So as fathers, I feel we need to take the lead on this, to set the example for our family and our home. You know, it's up to us to be the ones that keep the level head, that are the example of how we give an instruction so that we're teaching our children through our example. And so most of us are homeschooling now because of COVID, or we are homeschooling in some sort of fashion. I always say homeschool is life. So as fathers, whether we're homeschooling or not, we can still use these fundamentals to bring into our home. And maybe you're not doing curriculum, but it's still important as fathers that we take a principal role into our homeschool. And so why is this important? This helps build a foundation for everything that we need in a home, in family life. I mean, we have to ask our kids to do things. We have to get them to do things. Our goal is to lead them in their homework, to lead them in following through on activities. Whatever it is, whatever their commitments are, we have to lead them through this. And so as fathers, I think this is very important. It's something that we can take, we can learn, we can be an example, and we can lead our family by doing this one thing. So step one for the parent, get close to your child. You want to make eye contact. If they're younger, you may just want to hold their hand or put your hand on their shoulder. You want to show them that they're valuable and that you care to speak to them. You don't want to have to yell at them across the room. You want to get close to your child. You want to say, hey, there's something I want to say to you right now, and it's important. And by making that physical closeness, that's telling the child that, hey, he has something to say to me. Because sometimes the kid he's looking around, his eyes are everywhere, or he's not paying attention. That's where we need to bring the hand onto their shoulder, or if they're really young, hold their hand and just, let them know that you care about them and you want to tell them something. The goal is to make an expectation in the day-to-day interaction of family life that we treat each other with enough value to get close enough and have a conversation. Now, step one for the child, learn to come when called. Now, this is important for anybody. I mean, that's a necessary skill for preschool. It's a skill we need in life. You need to be able to know to come when called. If someone calls your name and you just ignore them, that's not going to work. If your boss is calling your name and you just go, yeah, what does he want, whatever, we have to learn to come when called, and so how far can we get if the child doesn't know when to come when his name is called? If we have to sit there and say, Sam, 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 and he just ignores us, we're already losing our patience. We're already having a frustrating time. And so it's important that they learn to know that when we call their name, they come. And so this is something that you can practice really early on with young children as a game. Like, hey, go over to that corner and I'm going to call your name. And when you come, I want you to come over here. Or when I call your name, you come and we'll go from there. And so, you can be like, Sam, 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 and I'll come over. Great job. But, you say, go back there again. Let's try it again. Tom, Mindy, whatever name you want to call them, and then say Sam, and he comes running over. You praise him, you let him know, good job. And you're saying this is something we want to work on. If you have teenagers, obviously it's a little different. You're not going to play a game or, but you can still let them know, like, hey, I don't want to have to come yelling at your name or come yelling across the room or searching for you. When I call your name, I would like you to come when called. Just like vice versa. If they said dad, you're going to come when you're called. If they say, Dad, I need you. Dad, you're going to come. You're not going to be like, what? Or maybe you do. I do sometimes. And that's something we have to work on. We want to be an example again in that. And one thing I'd like to say is you want to keep the emotion even. You don't want to let the emotion build in the way you call their name, like Sam, if you're angry, or Sam or Sam, keep it an even tone. So Sam, Sam, Sam. Maybe that second one was not as good, but you get the point. Like, keep it a good even tone. So, they're used to hearing that. And then also, this is so important. This alone can build cooperation in your relationship with your children. I mean, this step alone right now is huge. If you can get your kids to come and call, how many times do we have to call our children's names? I always tell my kids, like, it's important because what if you're walking into the street and I need you to stop because there's a car coming? You need to stop when I call your name and come. Or if there's danger somewhere, they need to know the importance of me calling their name and them stopping and coming. And so this is an important skill, and honestly, you're going to spend a lot of time probably just working in this one area, but that's okay. It's worth it. So step 2 for the parent, consider the timing. Before you give an instruction, consider where your child is at right now. Is he maybe doing the homework that you were begging him to do before and he just finally is getting into the mode? Well, probably not the best time to call him to do something. If maybe the child is upset about something, had a bad day, needs some time to just kind of process, calculate that time of, probably not the best time to call them. So you want to consider the timing because you want to think relationship. You don't want to do something if it's going to damage the relationship. And, honestly, if we're just having them to do this and it's the wrong time, then it becomes bossiness. And bossiness is giving an instruction without considering the relationship. If you got an angry boss and he doesn't care how you're feeling, get the job done. That's not going to really resonate with you, and that's destroying the relationship. And so that's the last thing we want to do. So as parents, we need to consider the timing. Step 2 for the child, always be ready to receive an instruction. Now, the goal is not that children determine when they can receive the instruction, but that they're ready to drop their agenda and come and you see what you have to say and receive the instruction. So if they're in the middle of a video game, they have to be ready to pause that video game, come to you and say, yes, mom, yes, dad. We are training children to give up their agenda and move forward and going forward with what we need to do. And that's not considering the timing. If the kid is playing video games, that is a time when you need to say, hey, that's a good time to work with your child in this. Because we're not going to be like, oh, they're playing video games, let me not disturb them. No, they need to be disturbed in that time because that is a time probably when they ignore you the most, when they're focused on their agenda. And that's like getting to the next level or building this next thing in Minecraft. No, we need to let them know that when we call them, those things need to put a hold on them. Now, if they're doing something of value, not to say that video games aren't value. I enjoy video games, but you know what I mean. You can make the difference. You can make the deciding difference of what is the right time and what is not based upon your children. So step 3 for the parent, give the instruction. Now, the goal is to make sure that your child understands what you are telling them to do and that it's not a suggestion, it is an instruction. And so the difference is, is a suggestion. I need you to is an instruction. I found myself in this way being like, could you put your shoes on? We got to go. And so for a child, you got to think in their mind, it's not a mandatory thing. It's not, we're confusing the child. He's like, oh, I can do that, but I don't have to. But what if I say, hey, you need to put your shoes on. We are leaving. That is an instruction. Now, we're eliminating the confusion for the child. And so that's important that we eliminate any kind of gray area. We are giving the child an instruction. Also, it's important that we give a calm, matter-of-fact voice and not get angry when we're giving the instruction. Now, that can be somewhat of a challenge for some parents. It's definitely a challenge for me sometimes. But always remember to keep a good tone of voice. Remember, we're thinking relationship. Always be thinking relationship. And step 3 for the child is the child answers the question. So it's important for the child to acknowledge that he has heard what you said and he is saying and he is answering with an okay, dad, okay, mom. And so a response eliminates the excuse that I didn't hear what you said, or I don't know, I didn't know what you mean, or I forgot. It's a verbal contract. So that way, when we give the instruction, they say, okay, mom, okay, dad, we know that they heard what we said. So now we can hold them to accountable. They can be responsible now that we've put the responsibility on their shoulders to go follow that instruction. Step 4 for the parent, wait expectantly. Now as parents, we don't have time to just sit there and wait for our kids to do the job. No, we don't. We have things to get done. We have stuff to do as parents. So it's just being mindful that the child knows we are waiting for them. So letting them know, like, I will be waiting for you to finish. Maybe giving them a time frame. Hey, you got 10, 15 minutes. I'm waiting for you to finish the job. And because sometimes we can send them off and then we just forget that we sent them off. We're sending them off and we're not waiting for them to finish the job. We just sent them off and that's it. We gave the instruction. Now they go, and then whatever happens from there, all right. No. It's not the best way to do it. So the child learns that when mom and dad give assignments, they expect them to get done before anything else happens. So step 4 for the child is to do the job as if on a mission. It's important for the child to learn to focus on the character quality here, that is being responsible. Being responsible for the duty that he has, for the responsibility that you've placed on him. And so one of the things that we like to do is I like to tell my kids what responsibility is, so that they are learning this character quality. They are learning responsibility. So we wrote it on a whiteboard. Responsibility is complete a job without being reminded. Would that save some sanity? How many times do we have to remind our kids? Responsibility reports back when the job is done. Responsibility is the ability to stick to a job without having someone prodding you. So how many times do we have to go, hey, did you get that job done? Did you get your job done? That can be frustrating too. I told you to clean up the room. I told you to do this. Or, responsibility is just getting it done the first time. Responsibility abides by family values even when no one is watching. And so what that could be is doing a good job, not because we're checking their work, but because it's the right thing to do. Showing them that, just because I'm not sitting there watching you, I'm still expecting you to do a good job, because here in our family, we do the best we can. We don't try to cheat. We don't try to throw all our clothes under the bed or throw everything in the closet. We do a good job as if God is watching you, as if God sees the job you're doing. What is God going to say when he sees the job? Is he going to be happy with that job, or is he going to see that you just threw everything under the bed? And then last is responsibility considers the intent of the request and does a thorough job. So when you ask them to do something, they're considering that, this is important. Mom asked me to do this. Dad asked me to do this. This is an important thing. I need to do it and do a good job. Guys, this is huge. Responsibility, if we all took that into our own lives, and I'm preaching, because before I could teach this to my kid, I have to make sure that I am living these examples too. I am being responsibility. Sometimes I have to consider the job that I'm doing and how I'm leaving the workforce. I have my own full-time job. I have to make sure that I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Even though I'm not being watched, even though they don't see my day-to-day, I still have the accountability to be responsible. Yes, accountability. I have the responsibility to be responsible. And so this is huge. If we can do this with our children, that's going to change the world. If we had people going out there being responsible for their jobs without having to be told to, that's a game changer. That's something that we need more of in this world. And sometimes we miss that skill. We miss teaching that skill in the act of just trying to get things done. Trying to just, that's good enough, that's good enough, that's good enough. And that's good enough is only going to go so far. So step 5 for the child now the last step is back in his hand, is to report back. Reporting back to an adult to say that I'm done, can you check my work? It teaches them accountability. If the children doesn't report back, then the job isn't finished. Reporting back communicates, I know this job is important, and I know that you know, and I want you to know that I got it done. When my children report back, they say, can you check my work? I said, great, yes, I will. And we check their work, and that's an opportunity. That's an opportunity for step 5, inspect and release. See how I did that? That's good, huh? That's an opportunity for us as parents to inspect their work. That's where we get to lay out what our expectations are for a thorough job. Like, hey, you missed this. Can you pick up that little piece there? Or, we throw all the trash away here. So you get to point out what a good job looks like. And then you get the best thing. You get to release them. The release is the blessing for the child. The release is saying, it's like Friday. You finish your work, it's Friday, you're done. How does that feel? It feels great. You're like, yes, Friday. I always tell my wife that the best part of the weekend is not Saturday or Sunday, it's Friday when I finish my job. Friday when I finish work and I know that I've got 2 days now of rest and relaxation because it's Friday. So we're giving them that sense like, okay, you did a great job. Thank you. You are released to do what you need to do or do what you want. And so it gives children that freedom. And it gives and then you get the chance to praise them. Great job. Thank you for getting that done. You did an awesome job. Always important to praise them for their hard work. Always important to encourage them and strengthen them, and seeing that they put in some effort. They put in a lot of effort. It's easy, it's simple, but it requires a lot of practice and discipline. So when your kids are doing this, give them the praise. They need that. Give them the encouragement that, thank you. It really means a lot to me that you got that done and you did a great job. Or thank you for keeping a good heart about it, not getting angry. I love your attitude. Certain things are going to go a long way. Certain words of encouragement are going to go a long way with our children. So, with that said, that is the instruction routine. I hope you find value in this, and I hope it helps you in teaching your kids and getting them to follow instructions without having to have arguments, without having to go through the painful fights and the yelling and the frustration and the screaming. I believe this can really help. And if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. You can send me an email at thedadschooler@gmail.com. Okay, so now let's give a recap of the 5 steps for the parent and the 5 steps for the child. Step 1 for the parent, get close to your child. Step 1 for the child, learn to come when called. Step 2 for the parent, consider the timing. Step 2 for the child, always be ready to receive an instruction. Step 3 for the parent, give the instruction. And step 3 for the child answers. Step 4 for the parent, wait expectantly. Step 4 for the child, do the job as if on a mission. Step 5 for the child, report back. And step 5 for the parent, inspect and release. Well, with that, I hope you found value. I hope this helps. Please consider subscribing to this channel. Hit that like button if you found value. Share this so other families can know this and use this in their family, and we can help build character in our children, restore relationships with our children, and have a better home life. And so with that, thank you. This is the Dad Schooler YouTube channel.